hope you're all having a fantastic day wherever you are. Here in Winnipeg, it is minus 22 degrees Celsius and it feels like almost minus 40, so it's a little chilly. So this fireplace comes in handy because not only can I have it just look like a fireplace, I can turn it on and have some heat because I'm a little chilly. That's what I get for living pretty much here. That feels like the Arctic. I want to talk about a topic that I think it kind of hits everybody a different way, but for me, I want to talk about it speaking from experience. I was bullied a lot when I was a kid and even into junior high and high school. It was bad. I mean, when I lived in Vancouver, I had told you that I think it was my first video that people would bug me about my voice. They would walk around and plug their nose or, pretend they're me. And I mean, kids are mean. We all know that. Kids can be mean. And I seem to have run into that crowd a lot. They would tease me about whatever, the clothes I'm wearing that day. I grew up, I was born in 74, so you can imagine the clothes that my grandma put on me when I was in school, plaid, and my goodness, I look back at some pictures and I'm like, I actually walked out the door like that. So, yeah, you can imagine. And I got teased about it because, there was a lot of people. Growing up in Vancouver, I think it's harder now because it's a lot more expensive to go and live there. I mean, if you want to live there right in the heart of Vancouver, you're looking at minimum $1 million for a house. So back when I grew up out there, it wasn't like that. I mean, I had friends that had money, and when I'd go to their house, everything was perfect, kind of like a catalog, like everything was, had its place, it was new. And then I go back to my house and it's just a normal house. It's not fancy in any way. It's got that old-fashioned, wallpaper, and it just looks old-fashioned. I mean, it was a long time ago, but a lot of my friends who had more expensive homes than me were more modern for that era, I guess you can say. But that's not really the part that bothered me about being bullied. When I moved here to Winnipeg, that's when the bullying started hardcore. I grew up in an area here, or I went to junior high, and every single day after school I would be followed and beaten up for whatever reason. I don't know, I can't remember all the reasons, but I looked at someone funny, or I talked to someone, and stupid things that only bullies can know, right? So I'm sitting there, and every night before bed, every single night, I would pray, and I would pray the exact same thing. I would pray that I can walk home from school and not get beat up. I would stay late at school just to avoid them. I would stay in a teacher's room where they're marking homework or whatever. I'd ask them if I can, study here for a bit and wait like an hour, and then I would go home thinking it's safe. Most of the time it was safe, but the odd time, no. They were around, and I tried going home different ways. Like, I would go way out of my way to go home. Like, I would go the opposite direction of my house and then, go down different streets and, come an hour or two out of my way to get home, just so I can avoid these people. There was one time, we have a corner store very similar to the US, I guess, with 7-Eleven. We have 7-Elevens out here too in Canada, but we also have a store called Max, and it's very similar to 7-Eleven. It's got the Slurpees and stuff like that, but they're called Frosties or Frosters, I think. And I lived 5 doors down from one. And my grandma asked me if I can run there to get some milk because she forgot to get milk when we were grocery shopping. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I walked to Max to get some milk, and there were these two, I don't want to sound racist because I'm not, I have to describe them as 2 Native American women that were standing there smoking and whatnot. And I was like scared to death, but I walked in and I got the milk and I walked out. Well, I was jumped by one, and the other one had a knife in her hand, and she literally took a swipe at me 3 times, and she got me kind of under my eyes. I had cuts among a few other scrapes, but right under my eyes. And when you're in junior high or high, you're worried about your looks. You want to make sure your makeup looks good, your hair looks good. It's all about, presentation of yourself, if you will. So I went home and I was like, I didn't want to make my grandma worry, right? So she saw that and I'm like, no, it's nothing, don't worry about it. But when I went to school, it's a whole different story. I wanted to cover them up. So I wore sunglasses and I went to the principal's office and I said, do you mind if I wear these sunglasses in school? Because I showed him what my face looked like. And he said, yeah, no problem at all. Because, I didn't want people to see that, and it's, it's embarrassing, especially when you're trying to, it's all about appearance in school, I find. Well, I find when I went to school, it was, pardon, my voice is even worse today than it normally is. I think I might be getting a cold, so forgive me. So yeah, I was walking around school with these sunglasses on, and my friends knew what was going on. I told them. Anyway, but after the fight, let me tell you, the milk spilled and got all over the place. It was, she stepped on it. It was just a normal 2-liter carton. But I got so mad. I'm backtracking here. I'm sorry. I touched my face and there's blood, and I was like infuriated. I don't know what came over me, but I nailed this girl, and I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I do not fight. I hate it. But I don't know what came over me, but I punched her in the face. I barely remember it, but I know I did. And her friend, because it was the 2 of them, she took off because I guess she was the more dominant one, and the one that ran away was kind of a follower. And I looked and I ran home. And, my grandma didn't worry about the milk. She was like, don't worry about it. Like, take care of your eyes. Grandma, she wanted to put, polysporin on them and stuff like that. And she said, don't worry, we'll get Auntie to get milk tomorrow and whatnot. And she was all, scared for me. And I'm like, no, it's okay. So anyways, I kind of never saw those 2 women again. That's part of that story. Back to school with the sunglasses. Wow. If it wasn't bad enough that I'm walking around school with blonde hair and looking at people funny, which I wasn't, now people want to bully me because I'm wearing sunglasses in school. They think I want to be cool. which is not the case. I was not cool in school. I was like, the little church mouse. I was quiet. I wasn't no popular, I wasn't popular with the jocks or the cheerleaders. I wasn't even with the nerds. I was just me. I mean, everybody has their niche. Well, my clique was not with any of them. It was just kind of like a quiet little group of us, and we didn't bother anybody. But man, trouble came and found me, I tell you. Holy smokes. So now these people, it's always the same group of people too. They want to kick my butt, and they didn't use the word butt, and they would walk by me and bump me, and just say, yeah, we're going to kick your butt at the end of school. Well, I had a friend, so I thought she was my friend. She's like, I'll walk you home, and I'll make sure nobody hurts you. I'm like, okay, well, and she was my friend. Like, she didn't hang out with the couple of people that I hung out with, but we did talk, and we had a couple classes together, and she was a tougher looking person, so I thought, okay, maybe I can have a bodyguard. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that would be great, because I didn't want to go home and get beat up again. And she took me home a different way that I normally went other ways. She took me home a completely different way that I never even went before. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe she's just trying to get me to avoid these people. And she ended up taking me to these people. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, don't worry, don't worry. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, really, what are you doing? Why are we here? And she never said a word after that, and I got my butt kicked. And I don't know how it is nowadays if kids feel this way, but I'm sure it is, because bullying is not only in real life, but it's on the internet as well. And I mean, I see a lot of it. From my favorite YouTubers, I see comments that people make. Like I said, I can't even think of making a bad comment towards anybody, because everybody's different in their own way. You can't sit there and judge someone and call them all these nasty names when you don't even know them. But this was in real life, and I had my share of butt kickings, and I think I think a lot of it is where my depression came in, because I didn't really know how to stand up for myself, except for that one time at Max where I saw the blood, and I don't know what came over me that night, because that was not me. Like, that's not how I react. I'm scared. Like, when these people like take a punch, I'm like covering my face and covering my, you know, just like cowering, and that's how I was the whole time. I get beat up every time. And once they're done with me, they go. And I couldn't press charges, because if I did, they would come to my house. And they have come to my house. They followed me. So they knew where I lived. So I had a park across the street from my house. So I would go there with my friends and play on the monkey bars or the swings or whatever. But once I see them coming from, because it's a huge park, so I can see people coming from all directions, I ran home, and I closed the door and locked the door, and I never went out the rest of the day. And I lived and suffered in silence throughout my teen years, most of them. And that is from being bullied and beaten all the time. And there was nothing I can do about it. I went to school, and I came home, and whatever happened, and I would go to bed at night and say the same prayer every night. Please, God, please let me walk home. Please don't let me get beat up. Every night. Every single night. So if there's people out there that suffer like me, suffered in silence, you don't have to. You don't have to. You can make it stop. In hindsight, hindsight's always 2020. There's so much I could have done, and I think back, why didn't I? Why didn't I keep, reporting these people? Why didn't I report them to the principal? Why didn't I report them to the teachers? Why didn't I report them to the police? I was scared. I was scared of what they would do. I thought they would come and hurt my grandma. I thought they would come and hurt my family. These people were not nice people, and they went to my school. And when they didn't go to my school, because they were older, they went to high school, they still came and skipped school just to come and beat me up. And there was other people who got harassed, but not as much as me. Pardon me. I don't know. I didn't do anything wrong to these people. They just didn't like me. They didn't like the way I looked. They didn't like how I talked. They didn't like the way I looked at them. They found any reason. Bullies find any reason to bully the people that they're bullying. And it's not right. And you don't have to suffer in silence. There's people like me who will help you. I can walk you through it. I can give you advice. I can give it, like if I was to look back at 13-year-old me or 14-year-old me and say, yes, things do get better. Things aren't going to be that way every day. And there is things you can do. There's hotlines. There's support groups. There's so much now because bullying has taken over the internet. It's taken over people's lives. I mean, I hardly slept good because I'd go to sleep crying myself to sleep, scared to death of what I have to face the next day. And kids should not have to worry about that. And nor should adults, nor should anybody. And nobody should have to worry like that. Worry if they're going to get, beat up the next day, or, what kind of bruise am I going to have tomorrow? No one should suffer like that. And kids shouldn't have and worry about adult problems. Kids should be having fun with their friends, not worried about, how they're going to get beaten up the next day, or, which way they're going to take home to avoid these people, or if they're going to stay at school late, or, that's not something that I want to see any kid or anybody have to go through. So if anybody out there, you guys, are, suffering like I did, please don't. Please report them. Talk to someone. There is so much support out there. They think that they've got us. They think that they run the internet and the world with their bullying, and all this teen suicide is just breaking my heart, okay? When Peter Mon made a video and he mentioned Amanda Todd, she grew up where I lived, and she ended her life because of this. And I can relate. I can relate because I have cuts on my arms. And that was because I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't want to put up with what I was putting up with every single day. It was horrible. It was the worst thing, well, one of the worst things that I went through in my entire life, and I don't wish that upon anyone. I really don't. And if there's anything that I can say or any advice that I can give, I will, because I want to stand by these people and know that they don't have to let the bullies win. I could have been one of those statistics because I was suicidal back then, and I'm 42 years old now. I've overcome it. I've had therapy. I've been through everything to get myself to where I am today, and I will help. I'm not a doctor or of any means, but I will try and help anybody. I will talk to anybody who needs help from bullying. You don't need to end your life. You don't need to think about ending your life. The statistics are skyrocketing, and it breaks my heart. It touches me right here, because I could have been one of them, and I'm not. And there's a reason for that. You know, the man upstairs has other plans for me, and I don't know what they are. You know, I have no idea, but I want to make, or help at least make, the world a better place. I want to speak when other people can't speak. I want to help people who suffer in silence the way I did. And I can only pray that I can even help one person, then I feel my job is getting done. That's what I'm here for. I am here to help, and that's what I want to do. You know, talking and making a YouTube channel has been something I wanted to do for 4 years. I watch so many wonderful YouTubers. They're fantastic. Shout out to Nikki again for getting me some subscribers. They're awesome. You guys are great. I love your comments. And anybody has comments for this video or any other video, leave them below. Subscribe and like my videos, and I will put more up there. I will help you guys. I will do whatever I can to speak for the people who can't speak for themselves. Let's put an end to bullying. Let's just put an end to it, because we're not going to let them win. Okay? We're not going. I don't want to hear on the news of a 13-year-old, another one, who commits suicide because of bullying. There are so many out there, and it breaks my heart every time I see one. I see them all. I see them in the U.S. I see them all over the world. And I mean, I'm an avid news watcher, and I see stuff, and it just breaks my heart. And if I, like I said, if I could help even one person, I'll be happy. But let's put our foot down. Don't let them win. And if I can do anything, just leave it in the comments. I will try and help and give as much advice from being put through that hell, pardon me, but it was hell. It was hell on earth. And if I can help someone who is going through something similar, then please leave a comment, and I'm here. I will answer every comment that I get, every snap, Snapchat me, tweet me, Facebook, Instagram, anything. If you want to connect with me anywhere, I'm here, and I will always, always answer your comments, your tweets, anything. I will do my best, and I'm here to help you and to speak for those who can't speak. I love you guys. I pray that you're all having a good day, and I pray that no one has to go through what I went through, and if you are, it does get better. I promise. I'm here to help you, and I'll do whatever I can from my experience to help you. I love you guys. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.